Today's lecture is going to be a debate about facts. Now, when I come at things, you need to understand where I'm coming from. I will never claim to be a smart person. I am smart about some things. I don't know a lot of stuff. I understand a lot of stuff. There's a big difference. Smart people work for the government. Wise people work for the spirit. As we do need people to work for the government to have their main focus be their job, doing job things. There are people who are trying to have an understanding of life and purpose and meaning, internalizing those beliefs and becoming them. There's the people who need to see something to believe something. And there's the people who believe something to see something. I'm on that believing side to see something side. That's the side I'm on. Because believing is not seeing is believing. Or, no, it's got that backwards. That's why I didn't say it. That's why I said it the way I know it, because I understand things. That's my point. I understand things. I'm not smart, though. I do have an Android phone. Also, one of my beliefs is smart people have Androids. Cool people have iPhones. Food for thought. If I'm going to debate about whether or not facts are facts, you needed to know that I may say things that are politically incorrect. So you need to follow along with my intentions, which means you need to listen and understand. Now, when I say listen, that does not mean while I'm speaking, you are thinking about your own thoughts and coming up with your own conclusions. It means you're absorbing information and waiting for the conclusion. That's listening and understanding. If you don't come to the same conclusion, you ask questions of maybe areas that might help you understand how someone got to that conclusion. That is having a conversation. So don't come at me all sideways, please. Please. Before you understand where I'm coming from. Because I am coming from good intentions. If you come at me negatively, it shows that your intentions are negative. Mine are positive. There's the division. I'm just asking to please listen and become aligned with positivity, because nobody wants a negative Nancy around them. You are the parasite. I'm done defending myself against people who don't try to see intentions. I will let the blind starve. You no longer get my energy. The only energy you're going to get of mine is when you're listening to me or having positive energy, showing me that you are aligning with positivity. Otherwise, we are going different directions, my friend. Let's get back to the beginning. Facts. Is there such thing as a fact? Or what's the difference between fact and truth? There we go. From a worldly standpoint, very surface level, a fact is a worldly truth. A truth is definitely more like personal to each individual. That is their truth. It can have the same truths as other people. It's not a worldly, universal truth. Like 2 + 2 is 4. That's a worldly truth. It does not matter what language you speak. If you have 2 people and another 2 people, you have 4 people. That's a fact. Right? If you say that is a fact, then does that mean that 4 equals 4 people? That's the fact? What about apples then? Because what if you have 2 apples and 2 apples? Does that still equal 4 apples, or is that 4 people? No, so it's the math equation that is the fact. You're saying a tool of measurement is the fact. So science, because science is basically the study of understanding how to measure and weigh and make things make sense. Science once said the earth was flat. That was a fact. What happened? Did the earth change? No, it's impossible, because a fact is something that's solid and concrete. It doesn't change. 2 plus 2 is never going to change. Who is to say what is actually solid, concrete, factual? You can't, because it's completely relative to a time period. 200,000 years ago, where are the writings that say 2 plus 2 is 4? It's been a universal fact forever, and it's going to last the test of time. So if it's always been here, then, right? That's a fact. Something that is concrete. It does not change. Like a tree is always going to be a tree. It's never going to be a cat one day. It's never going to be the air one day. No, it's only time relative. Eventually, that tree will be air. Eventually, it will be dirt. Eventually, it will be water. Eventually, parts of it will be in other things that are living, and it will no longer be a tree. It will be something else. It's air too, is it not? Because it's literally producing air. If you were to take the air away from it, there would be no tree to produce air. You can't have one without the other. Are you your heart? Is your heart you? Or are you one? So a tree and air is one. So then does that mean that the tree and ground is one? Because without the ground, you wouldn't have a tree. Without the dirt, you wouldn't have a tree. Without people or animals or things that needed air, you would not have a tree. Without those, you would not have people. Who is to say that we're just not different parts working at different times? A cup, you can say it's a cup right now. That's just a universal way of explaining something that's relative to time. Because what could be used as a cup right now could be used as a doll hat later. Is it still a cup though? Tell me what a cup is. It's something that holds something. So if it's being used as a hat, I guess it's holding a head. And isn't that a hat then? It's a cup hat. So now it's not a fact that it's a cup that you thought the kind of cup it was, because that's just a perspective thing. A fact is only a way to explain something so someone can understand how you perceive what you're experiencing. Because if that cup was on the doll's head, one person could say it's a cup and the kid could say, no, it's a hat. It's a fact that it is a hat, because a hat is something that's on a person's head. It's all a perspective thing. So there's technically not one variable to a fact. Science itself would say that, because it is a fact that science has said facts have changed. That is a fact, which means nothing could ever possibly be solid concrete forever. Fact of the matter is, facts are only what you decide they are. And my suggestion, don't tie yourself to anything and say, this is 100% concrete. Don't do it. What would happen if you didn't? Because you would still have all that information, you just wouldn't be stuck on it. Do you know what would happen? You would find other ways to understand life. You would be able to see other ways to understand life and the reason for things. Right now, you believe that there's facts. That means that, like, you know things. No, you don't. What do you know? What do you know? That's not relative to time. Because anything could completely change tomorrow. Right now, you could say, well, it's a fact that I'm married. What is a marriage to you? Then you have to describe what a marriage is. Now, are all of those, each individual things, their own individual facts that have to be in this equation to be a marriage? Is it just a signed piece of paper? Is it an act of doing something for another person? Who decides what those are to make up this fact? I think it's a fact that some people's heads are in a box of their own liking, or just up someone else's box, just believing in all the things that other person believes. Taking no initiative to have self-awareness and a deep understanding of the things that are happening around them. There's a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Great freaking book. Because your subconscious is so powerful that it does all the work for you. Therefore, you don't get to decide. You don't get to decide anything about your life if you don't tap into your subconscious and start changing the patterns that it's trying to build into your life. If you just follow all of the patterns, you just program it to, yes, follow patterns. You think all the patterns that you're following, all the beliefs that you have are universal beliefs? People run around acting like they know things. The only thing that you should know is what love looks like. If you have the belief that you know things, you've already put yourself into a box, have you not? Where's the room to grow and learn new things if you already know? I try to look at things from all different kinds of perspectives. I believe in all things that are love, that are good, not just for me, universally good. Because love is the one language that is completely universal amongst all living creatures. You don't need to be able to speak the language of a cat to be able to express that you love this cat. You don't need anything to express that you hate either. You can show it and have someone understand you 100%. They won't know why. No, technically, they would not understand it, because if you hate someone, it's because of your own problems. Because if you truly understand people, there's no room for hate. There's no room for hate. If you understand people, there's no room to judge them. Because you can't judge someone if you understand them. That defeats the whole point of it being a judgment. A judgment is like coming to a conclusion before you have the equation, like the entire picture. You judge a book by its cover. Before you even know what's on the inside, you just say that's the conclusion there. It's no good. I don't judge people. I see whether or not people are healed or hurt. That's it. It doesn't even necessarily have to be mean in your words. It could be like, are you taking more than you're giving? Are you being selfish? Selfless means put others first. Then selfish means to put yourself first. I guess what I'm saying is it's most important to pay attention to intention. My intention of saying that there is no such thing as a fact is this. My intention is because I had to go through a phase in my life where I realized that I did so many things just because I was told to do so. Because I took that in as a belief, something that I made true to myself. It was now factual within myself. That is why I acted this certain ways. Why I put the labels on myself that I did. A lot of it, people didn't even have to say it was a fact. I would just see it and believe it. Like how people react to certain situations. The pattern shows that people get angry at these certain situations. So I believe that you get angry at these situations. I got to a point in my life where I questioned the reasons why I was doing the things that I was doing. I didn't understand why I didn't feel like I had control over my own emotions or my actions. I didn't understand why some people do and some people don't. I wanted to grow. Along that journey, I discovered that in order to grow, you have to not do what you've always done. Because if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. So everything that I've learned to understand is that the only way that we can become better as a person is if we become better as a person. Meaning, we have to change the identity that we have made with ourselves. The labels that we have put on ourselves that we no longer want, we have to eliminate, no matter the cost, if you want to get better. If you truly want to get better, it has to be something you do no matter the cost. I had to get to a point where I challenged all of my beliefs, all of the things that I found to be true about myself and about the world. The moment I started doing that, the moment I realized that everybody was right and everybody was wrong, that nobody gets to decide anything and nobody knows everything. Everybody is living their own life. They live in their own world. Their focus is on themselves, just as mine is. My focus is on myself and my own growth. I know that the only way that I could help change the world for the better is by becoming someone better. I had to figure out what that looks like. I had to find the things that were stopping me from becoming better. The deeper that I dug, the more spiritual I got in that. Because I discovered that I am not my body. I am not the things that are just happening to me. I'm not my past, I'm not the future. I am much more than anything physical. My beliefs had to become non-physical in order for me to align with myself. Now, some people's beliefs are that they are not anything more than something physical. I used to believe that before I internalized and I discovered my own truth rather than just believing in everybody else's. I completely disconnected myself from the outside influences. I isolated myself in books and meditation. If I was struggling with something in my life and I wanted to get better at it, I asked the universe to help me, guide me, give me strength, give me wisdom to overcome whatever it was. I just made sure that I practiced being present and aware, not getting stuck up in my head, not getting stuck up in the things that are happening outside of my direct experience. I would discover what I needed. It would be given to me in some form or fashion. Sometimes it could have just been in an enlightenment thought, or sometimes it could have been a book. One day I had this thought of wanting to know what it meant, like self-discovery. This is when I first started getting into books. So far I'd gone through some different financial books, and then I got into some relationship books. I wanted to get into self-discovery, which is what led me into the spiritual. I was at work. I wasn't sure what I wanted to listen to as far as music. I loved listening to different podcasts or talk shows with some of my idols. And at that time, it was Will Smith. This was long before the slap. I still love Will Smith. Don't get me wrong. I do love Will Smith, but a real man knows how to control his temper. He's calm and collected. He uses his wisdom to solve problems. Anyways, Will Smith popped up on the Ellen Show. And Ellen asked him what his favorite book was. And he said, The Alchemist. And I never heard of this. And I was looking for a new book that would help me understand what it means to have self-discovery. And I agree with that. Is, if not my favorite book, it's my second favorite book. And it's a nonfiction. I don't read that many nonfiction books. I really don't. Most of mine are from psychologists or doctors or scientists or theologists, philosophers. Anyways, that is how I have been growing. That's what I do. I unplug my influences from the outside world, and when I do plug into the outside, or is that the outside world or the inside world? I don't know. When I plug into the systematic, controlled world, I lose my mind. I do. I lose my mind because people they're losing their minds, and I connect with it. I'm an empath, so I connect with it, and I just want to go crazy on people and be like, "Stop! This is not how you do it. This is not how you have peace." So I can't, and I have to disconnect. The only way I can maintain my peace is when I try to connect with a negative person as an empath. It's one of those things for an empath. It is hard to control your energy when you have such a strong negative energy, because it's impossible to not care and be an empath at the same time. Or you care about them, but also care about your own energy. And so it's like finding that happy balance where, no, you don't feed into it, because that's what feeds negativity. That's what makes there be more negativity, is if you become negative, right? Measurably so. So the less you give in to negativity, the more positivity there will be, measurably so. So, and life is one of those things where everybody's energy level is totally relative to their own experience. It can only be measurable to the individual person on how much energy they actually have. Nobody else can tell you how much energy you have. Do not let yourself get drained of energy, because if you are drained of energy, you are not connected with your highest potential. Clearly, right? So finding that balance, you get to maintain your positive energy and not let it run out, is very important for your own growth, because we're trying to have more positive energy. The world is going there. The thing is can it do it fast enough? Because at the rate that we are using time is accelerating. Here's my take. If I was a leader of my own country, my prison system would be totally different. My schools would be totally different. Everything would be very different, because I wouldn't want my people to have to rely on me. I would want to do the least that I possibly could. I would love to work myself out of a job. That would be my goal. The prison systems would not just be a timeout where nothing gets resolved and you come up with more anger inside of you and then come out and just go back in. It's a statistic. We've never done anything about it. That's never changed, because our government is not trying to solve problems. They're trying to have power and control. If they were trying to solve problems, there would be more therapists than security guards in a prison. It wouldn't be based on a time frame. It would be based on whether or not you know how to be considerate of others and live in society. Whether or not you can prove that. That is not their intention, to fix things. Like, they don't have laws against how many pharmaceuticals you can take. They have laws on if you could take one other mood-altering substance, some boomers or something. Can't do that. Hey, we'll give you everything else under the sun, even the ones that kill you. We'll give you enough that you can OD on just a simple little cocktail. They don't have laws against that. So I've also experienced going into a mental hospital, which was actually not a bad experience. It was an enlightening experience. I learned a lot about the system. I've always been in the system, and there's just different corners of it that I never got to experience. That was one of them. If I hiccuped in there, or if I said I'm pretty tired today, or anything like that, I'm not in the mood, they would be like, you want a pill for that? You want to try one of these? What? Can we talk about it? Let's talk about that. There is none of that in there. No, let's pump you up on addicting chemicals to keep you trapped into the cycle so we can maintain power. That's so messed up. I'm guilty of it because I take Adderall. I've been taking Adderall since I was 12 years old. I don't abuse it. Never have, never will, because it's been a tool for me. That's the thing. It's not even a tool. It's been a crutch. It's been the excuse of why I can't do something. It's my ADHD is never something that I've had to learn how to overcome on my own without a substance. I don't have control. Something else has control. That's the system for you. It wants control. The system needs control in order to maintain a system, power, authority. It does not want to fix people. It does not want to solve the problem, because if it solved the problem, the government would disappear. If the church solved the problem to why people couldn't be more like Jesus, then people wouldn't need the church. They wouldn't need to go to church to learn how to be more like Jesus. If the church was teaching them correctly how to be more like Jesus. The people wouldn't need the government if they knew how to cooperate in civilization without being selfish and greedy. What if you had a government that taught that put their money there and spreading that? Wouldn't that be a change for once? Where if you come from a home that doesn't have a stable foundation, don't worry. Our teachers, they are also psychologists. It's going to be one-on-one. If there's an issue with your behavior or whatever, they get to the bottom of it. Let's talk about what's going on at home. I'm sure parents would hate that because that means that they would have to be accountable. Isn't that the point? Can you grow without being accountable? I don't think so. Just saying, I don't think so. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents on that. I'm here to pick up my Nomader box truck right there. She's had a bunch of work done, getting ready for the road. Yeah, we'll talk to you. That was a good brain dump, along with scatterbrain, like usual. Lots of good golden nuggets.